Hi there, welcome to Elements. This is for my earth people, earth sign people, all of those people who are falling under the sign of earth. You could be a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, or you could be somebody who has a lot of earth signs or earth planets in earth signs. Yes, lots of planets in earth signs. This could also be for people who just readily connect with the earth. You feel like you're an earth keeper. You find yourself to be very grounded. So get in wherever you fit in. I also do always recommend cross watching on this because sometimes information comes through for an earth sign, but it might say for you to connect with another element, or that working with another element could prove to be beneficial. Okay, so this message is to carry you from this new moon, which is on the 11th of February, all the way to the next new moon, and that new moon is going to be around the 13th of March. So this message is for that period of time. So for those of you who have been watching your signs and wonders reading for your zodiac, you will know that for the month of February, all of the month of February, my focus was on relationships and relating. So if you want to refer back to that for your sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign, you can go and take a look at that. But I'm expanding on that for the elements just so that we can further look into relationships. As we're moving into or moving out of the rest and cleansing moon and moving into the big winds moon, this is a time for us to look at our relationships, look at how we are expressing ourselves or communicating with each other. And then, of course, we also want to talk about boundaries because there can be no relationships without talking about boundaries as well. Okay, so I am going to be reading from the Alphabet for Lovers. Where's Alphabet for Lovers? I will be reading from Alphabet for Lovers. This is Orna Ben Shoshin. She does a number of very delightful little cards, including these lovely little heart-shaped gems that I do enjoy working with and handling. So I will be reading from the Alphabet for Lovers. And I'm also going to do a little bit of tarot reading, and this is going to come from the Zillich Tarot. All right, I like using Zillich Tarot for anything related to love and relationships. So we'll use the tarot to get into the boundaries and getting into how you need to communicate with your significant other. But I'm going to be drawing the general purpose of your reading. Hopefully, this will resonate with most of you or many of you. These cards are to be read. They can sometimes be read as your love relationships or your romantic relationships, but for some of you, these things may resonate on a different relationship level. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be work associates, any of that. So as I am reading the text and as you are exploring the text with me, just kind of open your mind as to where this type of relationship lives in your particular life. Okay, I'm going to grab my glasses and then I'll be right back. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with you. This is from the Alphabet for Lovers. I went ahead and pre-shuffled these so that we could go ahead and get right into the text and not use a lot of time for shuffling. But the card that came up for you is a causal relationship with a loss of interest. So this is a relationship that you probably got into, could be, some kind of extraneous reason why you may have gotten together, serendipity, circumstances, that kind of thing. But now there seems to be a loss of interest. So again, wherever this sits with you, so be it. Okay. So from the text, it talks about unexpected changes in livelihood, a hard struggle to improve a financial situation. It talks about investing in your financial establishment being essential to you, and you want to be able to do it successfully, but you've reached a level of disillusionment about the nature of this relationship that you're in. So the friendship between you and the partner may be lost. There's a connection that exists, but outside of practical considerations, it's more about day-to-day survival. You can communicate well. Both of you seem to be able to communicate well. There is a spiritual connection between you, but it falls into the mundane. So it's not about the connection. It's not about the communication. It's just that the relationship has gone to the mundane. Maybe the excitement is over. You reach an understanding that the relationship maybe has never been that deep enough and that you've lost interest in your partner because the intellectual stimulation that you needed is missing. Okay. In some cases, there may be weariness or damage to your intimate life and you're feeling very dissatisfied, it says. It says not in the relationship you didn't want to go deeper and retrieve some of the real nuggets, the real pearls of wisdom from the relationship. And so it's difficult to accept this mundane part of it, and being in the mundane may be where the gems reside for some of you. Some of you may turn your back. You might look for new thrills in other people. There's a possibility that you may be parting ways because whoever the dominant partner is who lost interest would prefer to be alone rather than watch the relationship just continue to die or to fade into to the abyss. Okay. If you're single, it's talking about excessive fussiness in choosing a mate and your tendency for judgmental behavior, not giving a chance for a new friend to expose all the best aspects. Remember, we talked about reaching for the pearls there. And the preference for you is to act alone as a lone wolf rather than get emotionally tied in. Okay. As a personality, they say that that the people involved are individual. They may be lone wolf types. They probably are capable of making a good living and having nice profits, which is why this relationship could be causal or even transactional. But it doesn't have the depth that you're needing. It doesn't have the depth that you need. So take that information and we will expand on that, okay? So we're talking about a relationship that, maybe you didn't dig deep enough. You didn't try. I'm not going to say try hard enough. It's not about that. I think it's just that for whatever reasons, relationship may be transactional. Relationship may not have the depth, or you might not get the intellectual stimulation, so it wasn't going to go that deep anyway. All right, so when we're talking about balancing the relationship, we're talking about self-expression, being able to express what's going on, earth signs, and we're also talking about boundaries. We've called in the High Priestess. The High Priestess is about trusting your intuition. It's about trusting what you feel, what you sense, about it, not really asking a lot of questions, because the High Priestess realm is really I'm not going to say it's outside of logic, but it lives in a different place than logic. So if you're trying to, if you're in a transactional relationship, then logic would keep you in a relationship that you probably wouldn't want to be in, to be honest with you. Because what you'll do is you tell yourself all the logical reasons why you should stay. But deep down inside, where your feelings rest, it's just not there. Okay. So that's why they're saying for you to rely on your heart, rely on that part of yourself, that instinct. There's a knowing, and you need to rely on the knowing. So this is a Two of Cups, which to me says that this relationship that we're talking about for earth signs is it is a romantic relationship, okay? Something where, of course, your feelings and emotions are involved. It is causing you to question what you really want deep down on the inside. It's causing you to ask that in relationship to the relationship, okay? So this is a very good practice. This is a very good thing to do, because before you make a decision to leave or to go, it's important for you to understand yourself, It's important to know what's important to you in any relationship, not just this one, but in any relationship. Because any relationship that you get into, you need to know what's the most important thing to you. What what is really going to make this relationship blossom and grow in a way that it grows you and grows the other, and the two of you are growing and moving forward together or in alignment. So you have to be aware of your inner desires. You have to be aware of your inner desire. Okay? So I do see here that there has been some difficulty. There's things that you're trying to throw off, you know. There's aspects of the relationship that didn't come together, and you're trying to shake it off. You know, some of you are trying to make it be something that it's not, or you're trying to justify it. Okay. It's important to own the part that feels broken. It's also important to express it, because remember, we're talking about expressing yourself in a relationship. So if there is some disappointment, if there is something that seems broken, then it's important to articulate it and find a way to articulate the best way to articulate it, either to your partner or to a trusted individual or to somebody that you're seeking advice from, or your therapist or whoever. It's important to be able to articulate that. So these two things are happening simultaneously is what I see. Okay. It's a combination of you really getting down to business about what you want in a relationship, and also looking at what this current relationship doesn't have. It's like seeing between the lines. You got to read between the lines a little bit. It's not even reading between the lines. It's really just accepting that that there might be some separations, and there may be a separation between what you want and what you want to get out of the relationship that you need to articulate. And it could be that you haven't articulated it to your partner. It could be that when you articulate it to your partner's like, oh, I totally get it now. And then all of a sudden it changes the dynamic of the relationship, because you are articulating what it is that your true desire and what seems like it's off. So this is definitely about communication for you. More than boundaries, it's about communication. So for whatever reasons, you feel like whatever has happened has created a mess that you don't feel like you can actually get out of. That's not true. Okay. That's not true. The lack of communication can build barriers. It can create messes. It can create the illusion of messes, but the way to get around it is the communication. Okay. So it's not that it's a failure. It's a failure to communicate. The relationship is not a failure. There's been a failure to communicate or assign people. So you're being called to the center. You're being called into the center of yourself. Of course, this goes back to being able to be in a good place where you can expand and extend yourself into a relationship with another person. Before you do that, you know where you got to go. You got to go to the self. You got to get centered. You got to look at the structures that you have in place here. There's structures. See them down there at the bottom? There's structures that you have in place in your head that, again, the articulation is going to help you get through. And you may have the conversation and realize that it was always going to be broken. It was never going to get fixed. But either way, you've articulated. And by articulating, you claimed, or you can, that word sound. You know how we talk about there's power in words. So when you are able to adequately express your real inner feelings without any kind of apology or anything like that, without anger. It's not about being angry. It's not about trying to prove anything. It's not about showing somebody what's real or what's, if they ain't woke or not. It's not about any of that. It's just about expressing what it is that you actually want and desire in a relationship. Okay? So out of this time comes the better part. That's when you start to really be able to benefit from the relationship. That's when you learn how to choose better relationships, earth signs. This is when you are able to communicate with your partner that you may be feeling that you're falling apart, but you're able to actually mature into the relationship by communicating your honest feelings and getting in touch with your honest feelings. It's a win-win here. It's a win-win if you go within. Okay? Communication, that's everything I've gotten here. I haven't gotten anything about having to set boundaries. So in whatever this situation, this relationship that you are in, be it transactional calls or whatever you want to call it, wherever it is that you're not really whatever it is, you're not really communicating with the other person, but communication is of the utmost importance. I think I've probably said communication 15,000 times. Okay. So I'm going to let that one go. All right. I'm going to ask the cards one more time if there's something else that we need to know. Anything else? Anything else? Yeah, I'm getting lots of things here. All right. Lots of things here. Anything else? For my earth signs, please. Anything else for earth signs? Okay. Anything else for the earth signs? Earth people. Messages for earth people as far as relationships, communication, boundaries. All right, good. All right, so we've got the death card. That means that something has to end in order for there to be something new to begin. So if it comes down to it, like once you do your inner work and once you get down to, what it is that you really want and desire, once you've spent this time really understanding the structure of the relationship that you want to have, and you get to that point where you realize it's time for this relationship to be over, then what I want you to do is see it as a transformation. See the relationship for the transformative qualities that it has. Honor the other partner in the relationship in their role in bringing you to this transformation, and then release it in peace. Okay? Then we have the Queen of Swords here. Queen of Swords is about boundaries. So I was saying I hadn't seen anything about boundaries, but if there ever is a boundary maker, it's going to be the Queen of Swords. Why? Because Queen of Swords is also about her business. Queen of Swords is discerning. There's not very much wool that you can pull over her eyes. She is clear about her intentions, and she isn't afraid to articulate them. So this Queen of Swords energy is what you need to draw to yourself when it comes to the relationship. So really just you being in your presence of self is the boundary that's needed in this case. And then we have the Princess of Wands, which is to me more or less about allowing yourself to be your full free self, not holding back, not trying to hide or to mask or to cloak any aspect of yourself. It is about owning your all of your desires, all of your wants, what you need. Again, when we're talking about what you need in a relationship, it's about being free to express that and feeling free in knowing that whatever it is that you desire in your relationship is a-okay. Okay? And then out of all of that, the very last card is about being satisfied. It's about knowing yourself, embodying yourself, and letting your partner be a part of that experience. It's not about you trying to absorb somebody else's world or somebody else having to absorb yours. It's not about compromising yourself at all. It's not about that. It's more or less about you being being in your full regalia and then letting your partner be a part of that experience. That's what I'm seeing in this card here. I'm also seeing the purple in this card being a message from your higher self, coming in from the crown chakra, that's the highest ideal in the relationship for you earth people, is to, again, you're not trying to enmesh. You're not trying to absorb anybody's personality or vice versa. They don't need to absorb yours. It's really about letting people be a part of your divine experience and you being a part of theirs. And that's it. So if it feels like the relationship is dead, okay, then go ahead and end it peacefully. But before you do, articulate and express your innermost desire. All right, earth people, this has been a great reading for me. I hope it's been equally as wonderful for you. I have readings. If you need to do a relationship reading, you can reach out to me by email because that is not available on the website. And my email is Kerri, Kerri, at wooingnature.life. I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, you can check me out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram if you need to get your daily dose. All right, I am going to leave you with some questions. I got these cards. This is from The Skin Deep. I want you to look that up. They've been doing this wonderful project that gets people to communicate with each other. And they have these cards with questions on them that you can do with your partner. And so what I did is I pulled 4 questions, and you can use these questions to talk or to spawn a conversation with your significant other. All right. So the first question is, if I were to cheat on you, what do you think the reason would be? If I were going to cheat on you, what would the reason be? Okay. Here's a second question. How do you think having children would or has, if you have children, affected our relationship? How do you think having children would or has affected our relationship? That's really significant, especially when you say that these relationships may have gone to the mundane. There's nothing that will take your relationship to the mundane better than having children because it becomes very routinized. So for those of you who are having that experience, I can relate. The next one, here's another question. What do you think might come between us, and what can we do about it? What do you think might come between us, and what can we do about it? And the last one, do you think I'm capable of cheating? Why or why not? All right, so those are some questions. If you want to get something stirred up or get the conversation going, you can do any or all of those or none of those. Depends on how brave you feel. As always, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a great season from new moon to new moon, and I hope you're having a wonderful life.